I'm going to talk about a controversial topic called telephilia. It's Teleiophilia. It could be pronounced either which way. I'm rehearsing this speech for my English class. And believe it or not, I don't mention Teleiophilia once in my speech because, then I would just be giving myself away there. And because of the philia at the end of the word, it makes it sound like it has a negative connotation. So I want everyone to hear this. So this is my speech now for my English class that I will be presenting to a group of 30 students tomorrow. Okay. How many of you have been attracted to someone older than you are? I don't have any statistics on that. This is actually a widespread issue with teenagers, and people are not raising enough awareness about it. A lot of teenagers are experiencing a sexual preference for older adults, which is called telephilia. These poor girls have to go through all of this trauma, everything from bullying to depression. There are kids out there who are suffering with society's sexual repression. As if the age of consent weren't enough. The age of consent in California is 18. Young girls are not coming out about this because it's deemed socially unacceptable and taboo. They are staying in the closet. Adults are actually the ones calling us out for being underage, calling us names like jailbait, and labeling us as illegal. So we can't help it because it's a part of our sexual orientation. However, little is done to help girls overcome the suppression that comes with this. If you look this up on Google, so that means if you look up telephilia on Google, 40% of the results are repeats and irrelevant. 28% of the results are people blogging. 15% of the results are media-related results, so that would be like video, photo, etc. Only 14% are credible biology, psychology, and encyclopedia sites. I have lost friends because of this, because when I'd come out and tell them, they would be appalled by it. And I can't help it. I can't control it. Earlier this year, I contacted my friend at AMC, she doesn't want me to say her name, who is also dealing with this. And she has some things to share with us. She told me that she could never make friends with girls because dating is a huge part of the bonding process, but she missed out on it because she is attracted to adults, and they wouldn't date her. Life for her is fragile. Everything is locked away inside to eat at you because there is no peace. Her friends and family accused her of being a lesbian because she wasn't showing interest in boys her own age. I too had to lie about my sexuality in 8th grade. I didn't even know what to tell people. Every time I told them the truth, they threw me in the lake. I told them I was a lesbian. And then I told them I was bi. All because I was attracted to mature adults, which is having telephilia. Then eventually, when the rumors got so bad that I had no choice but to come out, I told them that I had feelings for adults. The reason why some of us are attracted to older adults is because they have biologically developed already. A lot of factors play into this, including body composition. My experiences growing up with this have dehumanized me. Discrimination, name-calling, labeling, bullying, and depression. Growing up with people who told me to find a person my own age. If they have feelings for adults, which is telephilia, they're going to, 1, feel uncomfortable, 2, feel not feel interested, feel uninterested. 3, it's not by love, it's by force. So it's not by physical attraction, you're like forcing them, it's by force. This is why I have never dated or kissed or had any romance in my life. When I was 13 years old, I fell in love with someone, and that relationship, if that's even what you want to call it anymore, has gone nowhere. But I still love this person. I had also tried to reach out to this person for help with this issue. This tears families apart. Instead of growing closer, they grow further apart because of the teen's sexual desire for age disparity and the laws too that restrict that. The most common case of this is when a teenager is attracted to their teacher or to a celebrity. This issue mostly affects young girls. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to agree with it. All I ask of you is that you be tolerant of it. And the best way to help is just talk to them. Show them that you care and that you are there for them and that you hear them. Don't push back against it because that will just make their situation worse. So don't push back against the telephilia if they have it. The most important thing is that you recognize that they are different, that you recognize their sexuality, that they have telephilia. You need to recognize, if somebody has telephilia, you need to recognize it. And give them the help that they need. It all starts with you, and you have to actively take a role to eliminate negativity out of their lives, because a lot of psychologists, aides, counselors, you name it, do in fact make these situations worse sometimes by ganging up on you for this, because they don't believe in it, so they gang up on you for it. Or they think that they could just tell you, oh yeah, be attracted to kids your own age, and it doesn't work, because they don't even realize the root of the problem is. They don't even get it in the first place. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're doing. It happened to me. I have experienced this one too many times. You have to embrace their sexuality, accept them for who they are. Be in tune with their emotions and make them feel like they're welcome. Make them feel like they're heard. Okay, so that's basically all of my speech, the full version. Of course, in my English class tomorrow, I have to eliminate it down to 3 minutes, so I have to get the highlights out of that. But I also want to note that I actually had a mental breakdown in 2011 because the pressure outside was too much. The pressure outside bursted. It was so much pressure having to grow up with this that I had a mental breakdown in 2011. Also, my guy that I like also had another girlfriend, and he was posting pictures of her on Tumblr that greatly contributed to this. But I would say for the most part, it was the people outside of my bubble that really did me in, did a number on me. I had also completely lost my faith in people by then. And if I could go back and do it again in middle school and all that, especially in 2011 when I was an 8th grader and 14 years old, I should have joined youth groups. I should have been part of more after-school programs. I should have just had... I did have a good support system then. I guess it wasn't, really good. It was better than my other school, but I don't know. They were overwhelmed. They did try to help me, this middle school that I had transferred to in 8th grade, because I went to another school before, and that school wasn't a support system at all. They didn't help me at all. But this other school that I had transferred to helped me. And the irony of that is the middle school that I went to before, they were like the number one in the community, and this school wasn't even number one, and they were better for me. But, yeah, I should have been able to join some support groups for this. I was having major issues with this, and I just completely lost my faith in people. I didn't believe in people anymore. I didn't believe anything would help me in that point. I had completely lost my faith in all means of, anything that would be mentally therapeutic, any mental health, anything to do with mental health treatment. I completely lost my faith in it, especially when I was seeing the psychiatrist because of my mental breakdown. The psychiatrist, in fact, made me worse and told my mom to not let me have soda or coffee, and told my mom that I was this and that I was that, bad-mouthing me. I don't know if she bad-mouthed me, but it didn't really sound like she was really interested in, it didn't seem like I had her best interest. It just seemed like she was pulling a paycheck. This one psychiatrist that I went to for, and she was prescribing me Ambien and all that shit, and I took it. I took it, but I didn't like it. After that, I was just like, I'm not taking this anymore. But yeah, I couldn't function. I lost my ability to sleep. I was losing my ability to eat. I was declining. Yeah, and I started losing my appetite and everything. It was just amazing what happened. It was just amazingly horrible, but yeah, I actually had a mental breakdown because the people were coming down on me so greatly for this, and I'm coming out of the closet now, and by the way, I'm 18, so this struggle at the age of consent laws is over with, but the man that I love now is married, so there's that I have to deal with now. It's just one thing after another, what makes sex so negative. I also watched porn at a very young age. I don't know if I needed to share that with you, but I did. Okay, with the computer and all the technology that we have, I, saw sexually explicit content at a very young age, and that may have contributed to me wanting to have an affair, may have greatly contributed, I don't know. But all I remember is growing up, especially in 2009, 2010, 2008, you name it, all those years. I remember growing up, hearing about people having sex and having fun and having romantic relationships and shit, and I effing just was so deprived, and I felt left out. And I had just said this, I think, this morning, that it's like being the person in an orgy who doesn't get any attention, It's like being that one person and you're watching the orgy go on, but you're not getting any attention. So that's the way I felt, and I will never forget it. How I knew I had to grow up knowing that people could have sex and do all this stuff, and I couldn't be included because of this thing with being attracted to adults, that I'm attracted to adults, that I can't, in fact, have sex at all because, you wouldn't want to have, if you had this, why wouldn't you want to have sex with kids your own age? Why? Because you're not attracted to them. It's as simple as that. You're just not attracted. Okay, you're just not attracted. You don't feel that physical compatibility, okay? You just don't feel that attraction, alright? You don't with kids your own age. You just don't. And it's not really an age thing. It mostly has to do with biological development and body composition for me. Other people, and for me, it can be some sort of a combination of both in most cases, age and body composition, the fact that they're fully developed. Oh, come on. I was in foods class, and, I watched this video from, I don't know how old this one video was, but anyhow, my point is, in the video, the one guy who was narrating it was talking about how, I think it was milk is so important for bone development, and he was saying that for boys, with muscle development and bone development, he was talking about muscle development and bone development, I think. Muscle development. Adults already went through that muscle development thing, and they're already there. They're already, at their peak. It's like they're they've already gone through that whole process. So that's why I'm attracted to them. It's mostly that, the reproductive age thing, that's the reason why here. Has little to do with maturity. Very little to do with maturity. Telephilia, you could have telephilia and be a young adult and be attracted to older adults, and you could still have it. But it's hard because of the way society puts so much emphasis on age disparity, and traditionally, society, couples aren't supposed to be any more than 2 years apart from each other, traditionally. I'm talking about traditionally. I'm obviously I'm a nonconformist, obviously. I'm non-traditional. I'm a nonconformist. And I believe in gay rights 100%. Full throttle, man. I believe in that. But, yeah, it's not right. And there are so many girls who are suffering today, trust me. I was reading the comments on YouTube one time. This one girl, her name was Dr. Sacco or something like that. She posted facts on telephilia, and in the description it says for your edification or something like that. And her video got a lot of hits. Her video really got a lot more airtime than any of the stuff I've ever posted. Well, my documentary got 20,000 hits. That's just because I paid for it to get 20,000 hits. But anyhow, there was a lot of comments on this one woman's video about her and telephilia. She came out. She was in college already, too, when she had come out about it. And one of the comments below said, "My mom knows I have it, so she picks on me." And teachers pick, too. And there's a lot of people who pick on young girls for this. And it's the adults who are picking on us because they know we're attracted to people of their age group, so they want to put us down for it and make us feel really devalued and uncomfortable. If anything, you guys pointing us out and picking on us and being honest about how you really feel if you don't like it. You know what they say, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say something at all. Well, anyhow, you guys saying something, and when it's mean, when it's not nice, when it's aggressive, or when it's toned in an angry tone, when you're taking a stance against it and it's in an angry tone and you're reacting negatively, that devalues us. That does not help us. It devalues us. We can't help it, so there's nothing that you can do about it to reverse it. It's not going to reverse itself. And by the way, the scariest thing about this Teleiophilia thing is it's the complete reversal of pedophilia. It's not pedophilia. In fact, it's the complete opposite case of pedophilia. It's the opposite. Instead of adults being attracted to young kids, it's young kids being attracted to adults. It's being a reverse pedophile. You may look up reverse pedophile on Google and see stuff on Tumblr about it. You also see stuff on Tumblr about this, telephilia. Okay, but if you look up reverse pedophile, you'll see a lot of memes on the internet about it and shit, and there's a lot of stuff that people have created about this. That is telephilia. That is what I have. And this is actually fairly common. It's not very rare, but a lot of people just don't know that there's actually a name for this that's actually called something, and a lot of people just don't come out because they don't know how, or they think it's normal so they don't come out. Obviously it's not normal because there's a name for it, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be normal. It's fine, and I would like to consider it to be normal because it's not a disorder. I've done so much research on whether or not this was a disorder, and it's not. They call it a chronophilia, which is a sexual preference based. A chronophilia is a sexual preference based on age. That's what it's called. So now I'm going to end this with reading the definition of telephilia to you, and please raise as much awareness as possible. Okay? There's some big-name psychologists who know about this. Okay, but please raise much awareness about this as possible. If you can. Okay. So this is the definition of teleophilia. Attraction or erotic interest in adults. It may be used in reference to an adult who is attracted to another adult. However, it most often refers to the attraction or erotic interest of a young individual to someone who is considerably older. That is the definition right off of Google. In fact, Google Images has the definition is posted as an image file. So the YouTube video I was talking about is Random Facts Telephilia. I've created a little documentary on this myself that got 20,000 views, but there's a movement about this. It's relatively small, not very large. So, but this is what it's called when your teenage daughter, and it can happen to your son too, but it more often occurs with girls. So when your teenage daughter or son is attracted to an adult or adults, this is what's called telephilia. But if they're attracted to one adult and the rest is peers, then I don't know if you would want to call it telephilia, because there's a lot of kids who are attracted to both adults and their peers. That's called non-exclusive telephilia, when they're attracted to both adults and their peers. But when they're attracted to adults only, and it's strictly adults, just adults only, that is called exclusive telephilia. I've learned this from going to many websites, and my friend AMC has informed me about this, that there's exclusive and non-exclusive telephilia. So, non-exclusive or exclusive, it's still telephilia. But if they're attracted to one adult and the rest is peers, then I wouldn't consider them to have telephilia. Because it's just one adult and the rest is all peers their own age. One or two, and the rest is all peers their own age. But if they are finding they have an actual sexual preference for adults, then it's telephilia. Even if it's as well as kids their own age, it's still teleophilia. It still is. It's the same thing. It's just that the difference between the two is, are they non-exclusive or are they exclusive? See, I'm exclusive, okay? I'm exclusive telephilia. So I had it really hard because I'm exclusive telephilia. And all these people are telling me if you want to have sex, you have to have sex with someone your own age. That I have to. Okay, have to. And I'm not attracted to young boys. I'm exclusive telephilia. But for a brief moment here, before I go, I want to talk about autism. Both my friend and I have autistic symptoms. I told my friend I was autistic. She told me that she is also autistic. She says she's noticed autistic symptoms in both of us. So autism may very well trigger this. And in my book, I had actually said this has gotten triggered by adults picking me up when I was a little kid. I would like it, and I would get tingles inside whenever a grown-up would pick me up when I was a little kid. You know what I'm talking about. When you scoop kids up in your arms. Yeah. So anyhow, that's what I had said in my book. I had admitted that. But the biggest thing with autism that I want to mention here is the fact that, you mostly are around adults more than kids your own age. Because of autism, you have problems engaging in conversations with your peers. You see, I have it too. I have autism also, okay? So I have this too. So I know how hard it was to engage in conversation with my peers, and I wasn't really around my peers. I had a really hard time making friends, and you're around adults more. And I was thinking that this autism, with being around adults so much more and mixing with adults so much more and being more compatible with adults than your own peers, is actually, in fact, what triggers telephilia. It's what triggers the sexual attraction. And you start to feel this sexual attraction to adults throughout puberty. So post-puberty is when this telephilia thing has been really relevant. So basically middle school on, I've had to put up with criticism and so on and so forth. I also had a friend who moved in from Pakistan. I won't say her name, but I tried to talk to her about this. I would try to talk about sex with her. I asked her if it was gross. Everybody else thought it was gross, except her. She was reading a mushy-gushy romance book, so she had really no clue what I was really talking about, what I was really into. And, I was trying to talk about this attraction that I have for older adults with her, even in 6th and 7th grade. So I've had it ever since puberty. I've had it before puberty. But when puberty came along and took over, this is when it became more relevant in my life. Because before, it was just curiosity. It was just pure, curiosity based. And there was sexual interest. Of course there was. Of course there was feelings. Just after puberty came around, I really wanted to sleep with someone. As soon as puberty came around, after puberty, I really wanted to sleep with someone. Before, I didn't care as nearly as much as I did. And I knew the facts of life by 1st grade. And before 1st grade, I was exposed to the male genitalia in the baby changing room at preschool. So I already knew what the male genitalia looked like before I even reached the point to where I was physically mature. I knew what the male genitalia looked like before then. So I already was sexually mature before I was really mature. I was already a sexual human being right from the get-go, Right from the get-go I was like that, And I knew the first time when I saw the male genitalia for the first time, I knew I was awakened by that. I knew I was sexually awakened, and I knew it. And when I learned the facts of life, here's the thing. I'd say, you gross, you gross, you gross, you gross. Repetitively, repulsively, compulsively, when I was younger. And this was even before I reached puberty. I would say that because I really liked it. I actually loved it. I actually enjoyed it. But I didn't want everyone else to know that. So I said that as a cover, and I admitted that in my book. That's another thing I admitted in my book. So I believe that this sexual attraction to adults was triggered by autism because I just wasn't associating with my own peers. Even when my mom took me to functions and activities with little kids my own age, I wasn't making that connection. Mostly because of my autism. Actually, entirely because of my autism. Hate to say that this sexuality telephilia would be because of my autism. Hate to say it, as much as I hate to say it. That is the best theory I've come up behind this. And I guess for other kids, I mean, I just think I was born with it. I don't know if my autism has anything to do with my sexual preference, but I'm possibly thinking that this sexual preference or sexual attractions, like the origins of it or the roots of it, are not associating with peers my own age. And associating with adults more, being compatible with adults more. Thus developing the physical attraction to mature adults, to mature, well-developed, age reproductive bodies. Well, I mean, fully developed adult body, developing an attraction to that must have been from hanging around adults more than kids my own age, and I developed the sexual attraction. And then I developed the sexual attraction. Psychologically, this whole theory that I have here makes sense, because my friend came out and told me that she had autism too, so this really, really, really is a strong theory that I got behind this whole thing. And to me it feels natural, to me it feels like, yeah, this is natural, and it is. It is. So I don't know if I would have developed a sexual attraction to adults or not if I didn't have autism and hanged around with kids my own age more and made more friends my own age and so on and so forth. I don't know. I still think I would have developed a sexual preference or attraction to adults, but maybe not. And I told you, if you don't get this, it has to do with body composition. Everything from the bones being fully developed and fully grown to muscle development all has to do with body composition. And that may be damn well why this mostly affects girls. But I remember the biggest thing for me was the male genitalia, because I'd be thinking, wouldn't adults be, more well endowed? I was always thinking that. And for some reason in the back of my eye, I kind of knew that, but I was also attracted to the more, you get what I mean, the more well-developed and, trim and well-developed, and that aged look. I was more attracted to that, too. And I knew that. But I know that girls without autism also have teleophilia, but autism, maybe with girls with autism, are more prone to having teleophilia fetish. It is a sexual fetish, yes, as much as I hate to admit it. It is a sexual fetish. That's what this is. This is a sexual fetish. But I call it a sexual preference, too. But it is a sexual fetish. That's what it is. It's a fetish. It's on, if you look up fetishes you never heard of, Teleiophilia is listed in a bunch of those lists out there on the internet. All across all kinds of mainstream websites, they will list Teleiophilia as a fetish. Under the fetishes never heard of category, they'll list Teleiophilia. So, alright. I think that finishes us up, I think that finishes up. I don't have any statistics on exactly how many girls have an attraction to adults. I don't have statistics on that. I wish I did, but I don't. I don't know if that's ever been surveyed, but I don't have any statistics on that. And, you look up crushes on adults, most websites will just not even get into this whole thing that I'm talking about. So, you already know about this. I'm just telling you the greater story behind it. That's